He'd taken away towards Via Marti, which is the way of the sea. And then he would be taking a cut on the northwest side of Galilee, and then begin to get into the desert to make the rest of the trip out to Damascus. It had not been that long since he had been holding everybody's coats at the murder of Stephen. If you remember that story, they eventually stoned Stephen because Stephen had told them not only about Jesus, but told them the temple, God did not reside in it. And that just really ticked them off. So much so that they stoned him. Now, you need to understand that stoning, the way we think of it, is not necessarily the way it happened. Now, St. Stephen could have been different, but what I discovered when I was in Jerusalem, that when you stone somebody, you take them to a cliff near Golgotha, if you're in Jerusalem, and then you toss them off the cliff. Remember, I talked about that in some of the classes. You toss them off the cliff. Now, if you did not get killed falling off the cliff, then they dump the stones on them. Not one of the particular ways you want to go, but that's the way they would do it. Well, St. Paul had been a zealous Pharisee, zealous for the law, very religious. He had no problems with the murder of Stephen. He had no problems with the eradication of those within the Jewish community that were claiming that Jesus the Nazarene was the Messiah. He had been doing persecutions in Jerusalem, although he wouldn't have looked at it from that perspective. And he was now on the way to Damascus to gather more information to arrest more Jews that were believing that Jesus the Nazarene was the Messiah. As he was on the road to Damascus, the story that Mike was reading this morning tells us, and there are about 3 different versions of that story in Acts, and then Paul has his own version of it in the letters. But something occurred to him where he went blind. His companions had to help him the rest of the way to Damascus. On his journey there, the Lord went to a Christian by the name of Ananias, who lived in Damascus, and told him, look, Saul is coming to you. He is blind. I want you to pray for him. He will restore his sight. And essentially what he was saying was, I want you to mentor him as a Christian. To be perfectly honest about it, and I like Luke because Luke is honest about it, Ananias is not too thrilled with the idea. By taking an openly hostile individual to this new budding faith